Two Americas. So basically, I've been thinking a lot about what I wanted to do my next video on, and I decided I wanted to talk a bit about just the state of the system right now and why the burn or bust movement is so important to break this cycle, you know. Basically, if you've been living under a rock, you know, that's the only way you can possibly look at things the way how they are and think that everything's okay, that everything's running well, that there's no need for change, you know. We live in a country, and it's not just the US, it's worldwide. We live in a system, a global system, where there are completely different sets of laws if you're somebody who's poor or if you're somebody who is super wealthy. And don't get it twisted, unless you're a powerful hedge fund manager running a big bank or in charge of a large corporation, you're fucking poor. That's the reality. Whether or not you agree with Bernie Sanders, you gotta admit he's right about the income inequality that we have, you know. And you have to admit that he's right about this bot system that we currently have, you know, where you can literally do anything you want if you're super rich, and you're gonna walk, you're gonna get away with it. There'll be no consequences whatsoever, you know. And you gotta agree with him that we need to change this system where, you know, politicians literally don't give a fuck about what you think, you know. You could be conservative, you know, or you could be a flaming liberal, you know. It doesn't matter who you vote for. They don't give a shit what you think, you know. I mean, this election cycle has proven that. Look what they're trying to do on the Republican side, you know. Donald Trump, like him or not, dude clearly is the one that the Republican voters picked, and they're still trying to find ways how to not get him as the nominee from their side. That's complete bullshit. On the Democratic side, it's a fucking joke what's happening, you know. You have the DNC for different parties, for different states, arbitrarily changing the rules to give Hillary every single advantage possible, you know. And it's fucking bullshit. It really is. So if this is the system that we're dealing with, why is it that I say that the Bernie or Bust movement is so important? Because for the very first time, it's a movement that's saying we're sick and tired of this bullshit, and you're not going to scare us with another boogeyman. You know, the Bush administration used terrorism. It was Al-Qaeda, you know. That's what they used to scare us, to get compliance, to force us to accept laws that were not in our best interests. You know, the Patriot Act. Like, Thomas Jefferson and the founding fathers would be freaking rolling in their grave if they knew that we allowed that to happen, you know. And what did Obama use? Obama used ISIS. Oh, be very, very afraid of ISIS. And what did he get in exchange? You know, we got the warrantless surveillance that they've been doing to us, you know. And what's Hillary using now? She's using Donald Trump. She's going to be using ISIS and some other scare tactics, you know. Donald Trump is now the new boogeyman. And out of fear of Trump, we should accept outright election fraud, you know. And we need to support Hillary because, you know, okay, yeah, they're stealing it from Bernie in the primaries, but do you want Trump to be the president? You know, it's such a bullshit freaking argument. And Bernie or bust, and this movement, what it's about is telling them, nah, fuck you guys. You're going to represent the people, and you will respect the people's will, whether you like it or not. If you're going to force Hillary down our throat using fraud, then we have a right to not support her if we choose not to. And that's essentially what this campaign is about, and what Bernie's whole entire campaign has been about. It's not about giving people free stuff like what conservatives like to talk about. You know, it's not about taking stuff away from you to give to poor people. It's not about any of that shit. It's about giving people choices. You know, it's about choosing between... Sorry, it's about not having to choose between, should I, you know, stay out of school for a year or two because I need to work full time so I can pay rent, you know, or I can buy food. It's about, hey, you know, if you find out that you got pregnant, it's not the fucking end of the world, because you can still live a normal life, you know. You don't have to live your entire life just paying daycare expenses, you know. It's about being humane. You know, a mother has a baby, she doesn't have to return to work within a week or two after just giving birth to her fucking kid, you know. Like, this stuff should be common sense. And people are gonna talk a buttload about taxes, and you know, you see the arguments all the time from Hillary supporters and conservatives about, you know, being a Bernie or bust supporter is a privileged position, you know, or we're just a bunch of hippies who just want free shit. I use myself as an example. I'm an engineer. You know how much I pay in taxes? I pay a fuckload of taxes, you know? But I would gladly give up to 50% of my paycheck every single month if it went towards helping people and towards doing shit that fucking mattered, you know? Rather than going towards pointless wars, sending troops, brave people, to go fucking die in the desert for fucking nothing, you know? Or to, you know, pay 600% markups to companies like Boeing on a fucking helicopter, you know? That's the kind of bullshit that I think our tax dollars are being wasted on. And for fucking what? You know? And then there's, you know, bullshit like the healthcare law, which, don't get me wrong, had good intentions and had some good parts to it. But you pass a bill with no freaking price controls because you got rid of the public option? What the fuck did you think was going to happen? Of course the insurance companies were going to raise their rates. Why the fuck wouldn't they? Everybody's forced to buy it. You know? All of this are issues that Bernie Sanders gets, and he's the only one who had a campaign, or who has a campaign, trying to fight against that and try to solve this stuff, you know. And I'm burning our bus all the way to the end, man, because that's the whole point of a democracy, to have the freedom of choice, you know. And I choose to support a candidate that's fighting for real change and who wants to make a difference and who actually freaking listens, you know. Bernie Sanders is the first presidential candidate to go to Puerto Rico. He's not just talking about that issue. He's actually doing it. Bernie Sanders, as a presidential candidate, is doing more than probably than a lot of presidents have in recent years to reach out to people and to get their voices heard. When was the last time you heard any president or any presidential candidate talk about Native Americans? You know? He's the only one who freaking gets it. And that's why there's only one candidate that I could ever support, and it's Bernie Sanders. So don't let anybody guilt trip you or beat you down for being a Bernie or bus supporter, because there is nobody else that we can support. Thanks for watching. Sorry for ranting. 3-star out.